Cowbird by Jae Ess. Chapter 25. The Procession. How did this happen? To my astonishment and dismay, in spite of and even in direct defiance of my uncle's orders, I find I've been ordered by the Queen Mother to walk in King Leon's funeral procession. I'd forgotten it was today. I've been so wrapped up in my own ordeal that I'd hardly been aware of all that was going on around me. But now I look more closely, I see wreaths with black ribbons everywhere. Everyone I see is wearing black, with hats and veils. The entire palace, indeed the entire country, is in mourning. Yesterday the remains of the assassinated king and queen were returned to Solaria. Today they will be entombed. Outside, the somber mood is even more evident. The entire city of Solaria, usually noisy and bustling, seems to have fallen under a hush as tens of thousands of people turn out to line the streets and bid their final farewells. Feeling completely out of place, and not entirely convinced I won't end up in huge trouble with the king, I find myself ushered outside the palace by several members of staff. They set me up behind an elaborately carved hearse with reliefs of cherubs and biblical scenes that look like they belong on a chapel wall. Beautiful and somehow also terrifying. I gulp to see it up close as the sky overhead rumbles ominously. Father. It is my own father who lies inside, and the Queen. She was not my mother, or I would have been raised in this very palace. According to Hugh, the king had an affair with his mistress, my biological mother. What was she like, I wonder? What was he like? God, you are cruel. You could have at least let me ask him these questions before you took him from me. These are my thoughts as I wait a few feet from my cousin Lillian for the king's arrival. Cecil keeps us waiting 10 minutes. Then at last the door is opened, and I watch him descend the palace steps, black cape billowing behind him. I shrink beneath his glare, and he does not reserve it. He is not happy to have me here. But it is the wish of his mother that the only child of King Leon should accompany his remains in the funeral procession, and it seems not even the king himself can go against such a formidable person as the Queen Mother. I wonder if I'll get to meet her after this. Grandmother. The rain begins at the same time as the procession. Cold, unrelenting rain. It falls straight down on my shoulders all through the long walk down the street to St. Joseph's Cathedral, a dreary, slow-paced, hour-long walk together with King Cecil and Princess Lillian. Several black cars follow behind us, including one carrying the Queen Mother and a few other close relatives. Every street corner we round, my presence incites a ripple of murmuring through the crowd. It is a solemn occasion, so the people cannot call out to demand the reason for my presence with the royal family, but now their eyes, which should be trained soberly on the remains of their beloved monarchs, instead follow me. I can feel the weight of their gazes, of their unspoken questions. To walk in this place, alongside the king and his daughter, to allow myself, a commoner, an outsider and a complete stranger, to be exalted to such a position. The sheer audacity of it all. How can I explain to them this isn't my idea? I know I am awkward and clumsy. I know I have no presence, and I'm not used to asserting myself when dealing with others, especially those in authority. But to allow myself to be carried along in such a way when I'd rather be anywhere else, it's so pathetic it's almost unbelievable. I hate it so much, and I'm so embarrassed I could die. This is all your fault, Hugh. If we'd only gone to Ashton like I wanted, but no, you had to bring me to the capital, had to fulfill your noble duty. Well, what's to become of us now? At least it's raining. That should obscure my form a little, and the wide brim hat with the dark veil Bridget gave me does a good job of concealing my identity, I'm sure. but rumors are sure to fly after this. I can only pray they won't stop me from leaving Solaria with Hugh when this is all over, and disappearing somewhere no one will ever find us. We reach the church. Inside I am shielded from most prying eyes, and I can breathe a little easier. The minister speaks about eternal life in heaven, while behind me sniffles echo off the cold stone walls. I stand stiffly as the king and queen are entombed together in a vault within the church, and a heavy slab is slid over their remains. I am cold and wet. My body aches with period cramps and my feet hurt. These boots Bridget gave me are just a bit too small, and yet I have no choice but to continue to stand, silent and absolutely still, and wait for some kind of cue from my uncle and cousin. We sing a final hymn, softly and tenderly. The minister prays. Then at last we are escorted to a line of waiting cars. Cecil and Lillian are loaded into the first one waiting, with the royal coat of arms on the door. I don't know if I meant to follow them or not. Then the door closes, and the black car rolls off, sending a very clear message. I may be Leon's daughter, but I am not one of them. I watch the taillights fade into the mist, feeling sore and miserable, confused and somehow just a tad indignant. In silent protest of this whole ordeal, I make the impulsive choice to leave the group waiting for the procession of cars and strike out stubbornly on my own. I don't stand out. Everyone's wearing black rain gear and hats with veils. In this crowd, I am just one more mourner, a relief. I make for the palace. I don't know where else I would go. Perhaps if I had my black bag with me, I might take a hotel room instead. But as it is, with no money and no connections, and very possibly with a group of Kurtzrift agents still out there looking for me, for now the palace seems the most obvious place to stay. I wonder if the guards will recognize me if I come on foot. Perhaps I should have waited in line for the cars after all. This is what I get for being petty and impatient. But I'm too stubborn to turn back now. I walk on through the rain, taking the back way where there are less people thronging in hopes of glimpsing the royals, though most of them have already gone home to escape the awful weather. The storm doesn't let up, but worsens, leaving me chilled and soaked to the bone. I'm sure after this, I shall never look forward to rainy days again. "Miss!" A persistent voice catches my ear. I'd ignored his first two cries, but now I stop and turn just as a man in a rain slicker comes running up to catch my arm. "A moment of your time, miss," he says, breathless, heaving from his sprint. "Just a moment. Here." He pulls up an umbrella, and suddenly I'm sheltered from the rain, but no less uncomfortable, I decide. "I don't know you. Excuse me," I say, and resume my trek. "Bob, miss. I'm no one suspicious," he assures me as he starts to walk alongside me, still holding the umbrella. Bob is approaching 50, short and thin, with rain-plastered hair and bright little eyes. What's his angle, I wonder? Is he with the press? "I know who you are," he says. "I just wanted to ask you a few questions, that's all, Miss Francesca." My back stiffens at his address and I walk faster, but the man keeps up easily. "You've had a rather stressful few days, I understand," he baits me, but I do not answer. "How are you adjusting to life in the capital?" Sensing he'll get nothing from me but stubborn silence, Bob tries another angle. "Is it true you're the secret love child of Cecil Patel?" His question mortifies me and I stop in my tracks. "No!" I cry, terrified of the rumors that might begin circulating if this man, who I now feel certain must be a reporter, were to run with such a story. "King Cecil is my uncle." I realize my mistake as soon as it leaves my mouth, and I could kick myself for walking into such an obvious trap. "You are the daughter of Leon Patel," Bob corrects himself with absolute certainty, and I have no words to refute him. He fires off another question as, shamefacedly, I resume my hurried trek. Have you come to lay claim to the throne of Ritonia? Absolutely not. What is your opinion on the rumors that King Leon's assassination may have been called for by other members of the royal family? I know of no such rumors. Since the king's murder, the stock market has plummeted, and many believe we are on the eve of war with Kurtzrift. Do you feel your uncle is fit to govern Ritonia through this crisis? I am sure he is. And you will not challenge him for his right to rule? Why have you appeared now when your father is dead? What other possible reason could you have for— Listen, Bob, or whatever your name is, I say, stopping once more, fed up and overwhelmed by these rapid-fire questions, and more than a little irritable. This guy really couldn't have picked a worse day to antagonize me. I am here because I had no choice. I am here because my life was being threatened by Kurtzrift nationalists, and my bodyguard saw no other alternative than to bring me to the palace and let them decide what to do with me. Now I'm wet, and I'm tired, my feet hurt, and I'm cramping so bad I could puke. I've been running on pure adrenaline since the moment I heard of the king's assassination, and if you don't back the hell off, I won't be held responsible if you get a black eye. Is that clear? Bob's little eyes are sparkling, even without a notebook and a pencil. I can tell he's just memorized every detail of my little outburst, which will now appear verbatim in the evening edition of the Solaria Times. What have I done? Can you tell me more about these Kurtzrift nationalists that were after your life? I have to get out of here. I have to run. Using every last ounce of my strength, I knock Bob to the ground and take off running across the street. He goes sprawling together with his umbrella, but he doesn't let that stop him from firing questions after me. Why were you in hiding all this time? When will you announce your presence? His voice is drowned out by a passing car, and soon fades into the distance. For my part, I don't stop running till I reach the palace gates. The guards stop me roughly in my tracks, and I endure a humiliating minute's questioning before an aide arrives, confirming my claim that I am indeed Princess Francesca, and they finally release me. The aide stays to speak with the guards, but I march past them, silent tears streaming from my eyes. Ahead of me is an enormous fountain in the fog-filled courtyard. I am vaguely conscious of a pair of men standing in front of it, conversing in low tones. The smaller and more plainly dressed of the two hurries off abruptly, while the other remains in place, watching me through heavily lidded eyes. I am hardly aware of him. My body hurts so much. Everything is aching and throbbing. The gunshot wound in my thigh is stinging and hot, and I worry it's gotten infected. I need to get back to my room. I need to get out of these clothes and— Stop. A voice like steel commands me, and my whole body freezes up. An inexplicable sense of dread fills me, and I turn slowly to view the man I've just passed. He's dressed in black like everyone else, with an expensive-looking coat and hat. Tall, he towers over me, looking down on me in a way that makes me feel 12 inches tall. His eyes, his arrogant, disdain-filled eyes, they should be brown, I think. And yet somehow they seem highlighted with a bloody shade, glaring crimson with palpable malevolence, and leaving me shaking with fear. Why? I don't even know this man. So why am I so afraid? You splashed mud on my trousers. I looked down automatically to see several large chunks of mud on the hem of his trousers, verifying his claim. Ah, I say, my voice very small and weak in my own ears. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry? His voice carries just the faintest accent. He's from Kurtzrift? Suddenly my heart is pounding even harder in my chest. I'm scared. I don't know why, but I'm so scared of this man. I want to get out of here. I want to run the way I did from Bob the reporter. but fending Bob off was easy. Somehow, I can't seem to make my body move in front of this man. Like a deer in headlights, I can only stand there and stare and wait for death. Is that how you apologize to me? With a simple sorry? My deepest apologies, I say, voice trembling. I meant no offense. I should lower my eyes, but somehow I can't take them off of him, and so I see the cruelness in his expression as he continues to gaze haughtily down on me, his utter, unfettered disdain. Wipe it off. I can't believe his order. It can't be real. I should question it, but no, I didn't mishear him. This man, this enormous, cold and terrifying man, there is no doubt in my mind what he's just told me to do, and I see no way out of it. I'm a princess? So what? What is my rank to a man like this, who plays not with mortals, but with gods? What a thought! I wonder where it came from, I think as I kneel before him and, with a cautious hand, clean the mud from his trousers. When I've finished, I do not rise, but remain where I've knelt, frozen, sodden, miserable, shaking. I can feel his eyes on my back. I can feel the icy aura that seems to emanate from the very core of his being. Will he kick me now, I wonder? Will he put a gun to my head? But he does neither of these things. He forgets me, and turns, and strides away, making for the palace. I watch him go from where I kneel in the muddy puddle, and I don't even think to rise until he disappears within its doors. The hand in the shadow, I whisper, not knowing why. The hand in the shadow.